Welcome to Arcade Story Mondays with Sergio from Panic Flip Gaming. Thanks for joining me today, guys. You're wondering what this series is all about. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, trying to come up with a neat concept that's interactive enough with the audience. And as I mentioned in some previous videos, there's been some interest by a few of my subs that enjoy the arcade stories and have asked me to continue to make these videos and share some of the stories with all of you. So what I'm going to be doing over the next little while is going to be talking about every arcade game that I owned, do some gameplay, and share with you guys a story about that particular machine pickup. Because let's face it, a part of the fun, or a lot of the fun I should say, with the arcade hobby is the stories and the people you meet. So I thought I'd start off today with Chase HQ. This is one of my all-time favorite driving games. Pure 80s cheese, Miami Vice, the colors, the Porsche 928. It's just a lot of fun. And I'm a huge Taito fan, Taito, whatever you want to call him. I always found him to be the Canon films of the arcade industry, if you will. They sort of latched on to a lot of what was happening in the 80s and popular movies and stuff like that, and they would typically make a game, some kind of a game ripoff after the movie or whatever was popular at the time. So I think this is where Chase HQ kind of came from that 1980s Miami Vice cheese. So I spent a lot of quarters back in the day playing this game, and when I started collecting, I thought, for sure Chase HQ was going to be, one of the first machines I wanted to acquire. So my friend Rui, who's probably watching this, he works for a vehicle rental company. And so he's always been my hookups, when it comes to picking up arcade cabinets. I typically call him and say, listen, Rui, I need to rent a van. I'm going to pick up something, can you hook me up? So one day I was browsing through the local classifieds, and I found a gentleman that was selling a Neo Geo. It was a Neo Geo, I think 2 or 3 slot, and it interested me. And he was only asking, I think, like, $350 for the machine. This is way back in the day when prices weren't as crazy as they are today. And so, I called up my buddy Rui. I said, listen, get a van, need it for Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, we're going on an arcade hunt. And he goes, okay, no problem. I mean, this is typical. He's used to it. And so, get the van picked up, get the guy's address. He's, I would say, about maybe, 45, 50 minutes away from where I was living at the time. And so it was a convenience store. And I get there, and I told the guy, so listen, I'm here from Kijiji. I messaged you about the Neo Geo. He goes, oh yeah, it's over here, it's, needs a little bit of work, some things don't work, this and that. And sort of like the corner of my eye, there was a huge pile of toilet paper about this high, and it was stacked like a pyramid, if you will. And I kind of looked in behind, and I said, there's a machine lurking under there. I said, what is that? And I started flipping through the rolls of toilet paper. The guy's kind of looking at me, and there's a Chase HQ. Not only any regular Chase HQ, the 25-inch version, which is extremely rare to find. And for you that don't know, Taito released the machine in 2 different forms, a 19-inch form and a 25-inch form. And the 25-inch is what you want. You get the big screen, get the extra landscape on the width of the cabinet, just absolutely, the way to go. And so I asked the guy, I said, what do you want for the machine? He goes, I don't know, man. I don't even know if this thing works, this, that, and the other. So he gave me a quarter. He goes, here, throw it in, try it. Steering wheel wasn't working. The shifter button for the turbo wasn't working. The shifter up and down wasn't working. And so I told the guy, I said, listen, you know what? I know I came here for the Neo Geo, but what do you want for the Chase HQ? I think we ended up settling on $200, whatever it was. I can't even remember at the time. It was something like $250. And I looked at the guy and I said, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. You give me the machine for $250, throw in a couple of rolls of toilet paper, we'll call it evens. And the guy goes, no, $250 in the toilet paper, you have to pay for it. Anyway, I thought that was a neat little story. I got actually talking to the guy, a very nice gentleman, and he told me that way back in the day, the whole entire street on the one side where his convenience store was located, still is today, I believe, he actually owns all of it. And at one point, I would say probably a good portion of the building where he's at was an arcade. And you know, he says, you know, I still own the unit next door. There's nothing there right now. I mean, it's empty. Obviously, it's been vacant. You know, so we shared kind of some stories of the arcade days, you know, back in the 80s and 90s. And I thought that was pretty cool. And so I've always said from the very beginning that while collecting the games is memorable, it's the stories and the people, you know, that you meet that sticks with you way after these games are gone. And you know, I think a lot of you, or you know, haven't had the ability to you know, experience you know, arcade collecting, and some of you may be a little bit younger, you know. And so again, this kind of circles back to what I said at the beginning of the video, that I enjoy talking about this kind of content and share with you guys. So now that the story is out of the way, we'll you know, give it some gameplay. It's a quick game. I mean, it's about maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Hopefully you guys stick around, you know, to watch me either complete the game or completely suck at it, because it's been some time since I played it. And you know, let me know what you guys think. And so without further ado, let's give it a gameplay. All right, everyone, let's coin up here, and let's see if I still have what it takes to take down these 1980s furious and vicious criminals. All right, what do we have coming up here? We got Nancy giving us our first task here. All right, we got the Idaho Slasher in the British sports car. No match for our 1928 Porsche, the Tony Montana Porsche from Scarface. The music in this game is absolutely amazing, and the commentary too. There's parts of the game where, you know, the drivers, you know, telling Nancy, you know, we got you, Nancy, baby. And I'm like, oh man, if this was like, you know, today, there would be a lot of lawsuits going on. That's for sure. Can't be talking like that. I mean, you know, you sneeze, you know, you sneeze the wrong way, and you get a lawsuit sent your way these days. This is what the world has come to, unfortunately. But hey, back in the day, like, anything went, right? So now you guys are probably wondering why my second monitor at the top shows a wallpaper. I'm playing the game not through Launchbox or Big Box. I'm just playing the game right from the emulator itself. For some reason, every time I play like these older arcade games, especially Chase HQ and Continental Circuit, there's some sort of an issue where the wheel settings are overwritten, and that probably sounds like Chinese to a lot of you guys, but this Logitech wheel that I have, you can preset different settings depending on which game you're playing. And so I have a certain set of settings for main, especially for these older games that don't have like force feedback, and the wheel feels very, very loose. And every time I play it through Launchbox or Big Box, the settings, you know, are overwritten, and the wheel basically, you know, loses all its feedback. Like right now, if you notice, hopefully the camera can capture, you can see the wheel only goes like a certain way, and there's a bit of weight to it, right? You're under arrest. When I play this through Big Box, the wheel just goes completely limp. And it's very difficult to control because you're having to turn the wheel like all over the map to get the car straight. You know, so really the only difference is if you play it through the emulator, you lose the marquee on the second screen. But you guys aren't really looking at that anyway. You're looking at obviously the gameplay on the main screen, and that's the most important thing. So let's go after this Lamborghini Countach. Every young boy's favorite car. Everyone had one of these on their, you know, one of these posters up on their bedroom wall. I know I did. I mean, that was it. You know, in the 1980s, if you had a Lamborghini Countach, I mean, you were it. Of course, the car wasn't really all that great, but hey, you know, what do you know as a kid, right? Just a good car. I actually worked with a gentleman, you know, a lot older than me, and he lived through the 1980s and stuff. He had some really cool stories, you know, that he shared when we traveled together. And one of the stories was in he was with a friend of his down in the U.S. and the guy had just purchased one of these Porsche 928s, like literally brand new. And he says it was just amazing, like just for way back in the day, like these cars were it, right? And we used to take it down to the freeway and just speed and really put the car to its test. And he says it was really incredible at the time, because the car was definitely advanced for for its time, if you will. And I think that's really, really cool, because a lot of us never really got to experience that, right? So. Well, we haven't used a turbo yet. We're in pretty good shape. But I think we're about to use one now. Yeah, definitely a lot easier to play with my steering like this, because this is how I set it. It's just like it's perfect. So I'll have to figure out what the issue is later on, because for some reason, it doesn't work with big box. But anyway, so we got the second guy taken down. What is this guy arrested for?
Okay. You're under arrest on suspicion of armed robbery and...
Oh boy. 2 life sentences for this guy. Which means back in the 1980s it was probably booze, cocaine, and hookers. In your local jail, so... Alright, Nancy's back, and we got the gang of Chicago pushers are fleeing towards the suburbs. Now, you guys are going to laugh at this as well. Way back in the day, I had a Nintendo Game Boy. And, if you remember, the old Game Boy just used to be green and black in color. And they released Chase HQ for it. I mean, it was absolutely atrocious. Funny enough, I actually have a replica Game Boy today that I put together, and I threw in all the old Game Boy games, and I tried playing Chase HQ on it. And it was pretty atrocious. I said, I can't believe I actually used to, play this back in the day and think that this was it. But I have fond memories of like playing, this game on the Game Boy, and not proud of saying, but I used to skip school, quite often and go down to the local arcades, downtown Toronto, really sleazy ones, full of cigarette smoke and booze, and God knows what was happening in the back. I could only imagine, but hey, I was there for the games. I wasn't there for anything else. And I used to go to school with this guy, and we typically, would skip together. His name was Paul, I'll never forget. And his dad at the time had an old pool hall, and so he would take rolls of quarters off of his dad's, cashier, or the cash machine, and we'd go down to the arcades downtown and play. And then right beside the arcade, they had an old Taco Bell. And it was great, man. Like, you could buy, literally, 20 tacos for, $5 way back in the day. They were so cheap. And we just used to, scarf down, tacos, wash it down with a Coke and head back to the arcade again. I mean, those are the things that obviously stick with you, and you never forget. I'm not doing too bad. Maybe we should use a turbo, but I think we got this guy too. One more time. Yeah, we got it. Got this guy as well. Looks like this gang is going to jail as well.
Okay. You're under arrest on suspicion of selling drugs.
Wow, that's unless, the cops, take some drugs for themselves and, they let the guys go. Some kind of a bribery. For sure, that was it back in the day. A lot of bribery back in the 1980s. All right, what do we got here? The LA kidnapper is speeding toward the outskirts of town in a blue 2-seater. Over. Yeah, again, no match for our Porsche. This is actually one of my favorite stages. I like the music as well. It's pretty neat, what they did. They tried to, obviously, create that sunset feel to it as well. And, I know that obviously, games today are graphically, they're a lot better. They got simulation games and stuff like that. But to me, there's nothing like playing these older games. And, it's literally, a senseless 15 minutes of fun, and if you don't have a whole lot of time to spend, throwing one of these games onto your, setup and just having some fun with it, you know, brings back a lot of arcade memories. At least it does for me, anyway. I mean, I never get tired of playing these old games. I know people laugh at me, like, how can you play this old stuff? It's like, well, if you grew up playing this, you know, you remember. I remember, like, the big disappointment of going into an arcade and finding a Chase HQ, and then the steering wheel would work, or would say, like, out of order, or whatever the case may be. It was just like the most disappointing thing ever. Oh, missed that one. Come on. I'd like to finish the game with a quarter, but I mean, it's been so long. Oh, come on. I know, bud, I know. Let's see if we can get this guy. And then the problem is, too, the game gets harder, right? So there's a lot more traffic, there's a lot more obstacles and stuff. You don't have a lot of the straightaways that you would typically have to enable the turbo and get some good shots on the guy, right? So. So it's kind of critical if you catch like a straightaway, you know, you want to enable the turbo to get some good hits on the guy. But I think my steering wheel needs a little bit of grease. It's a little bit squeaky. I just haven't played it in a long time. Maybe that's why. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to enable the turbo here, otherwise. Can we do it? Yes, we can. No match for the Porsche 928. 1 second left. Hopefully by now I haven't lost all of you guys. You know, you've gone off somewhere else because, you know, you're probably thinking the gameplay is boring. That's why I'm keeping the commentary going, you know, so I can lure you guys in and don't go somewhere else. Alright, what do we got here? Oh, the Eastern Bloc spy from Washington is fleeing towards the suburbs, and the targeted vehicle is unknown. Well, you know what, Nancy, not for nothing, but that car looks very similar to ours, so I don't know how that didn't give it away. I think we'll have to have a chat with Nancy when we get back to headquarters, because, you know, I don't think she's got a knife for vehicles. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Now this game also used the high and low shifter, so I'm using the high and low shifter on my 6-speed shifter here, just like the real thing. Oh, we went the wrong way. Oh boy, yeah, we're gonna pay for this one later. So I don't think we're gonna be able to finish this game with a quarter now. I think we're lucky if we even get to the last guy. I should be able to. You know what? I'm going to use a turbo. I mean, I don't want to because we should sort of like reserve them for this guy, but whatever. At this point, we need to get there, let alone. Yeah, maybe there's another one. We're so damn fast, and all these cars get in the way, and get all these signs and. Oh, come on. All right. Let's see if we can get this guy. Yeah, typically back in the day I could finish the game with 1 credit, but, you know, I'm out of practice. Oh, come on. And then you get these stupid things. Oh, come on, man. Oh, look, that car seems very, very familiar. Oh, come on. Getting some good hits in on the guy there. The trick to this game was always trying to actually not hit the car from the rear, it was always hit the car from the side and you do more damage. Well, who the heck is paying attention? You know what I mean? When you got like everything flying at you, you're not really concentrating on how to hit the guy, you just want to hit him. Oh, of course, spin out there. Get some good hits now. Oh, come on. I think we got 1 or 2 more hits on the guy. And there it is. We got it. So 2 credits to finish the game. That wasn't bad.
Okay. You're under arrest on suspicion of espionage and first-degree
Oh
murder.
boy, yeah, this guy's been away for a long time. And now we get to keep his car. We got now 2 Porsches 928, a red and a black. I mean, look at the guys. They even look like, you know, Tubbs and Crockett from Miami Vice. I mean, it's you can tell by the jackets and the hair color and everything.
For completing 5 missions without a flaw. Bless you, perfect kids.
You gotta love these endings too, like so cheesy. You know, you end up spending $5 in quarters, and this is what you get at the end. But hey, it's all about the experience, right? So, anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay, and if you like this kind of content, please leave some comments below. And I'm already looking forward to the next episode, and I hope you guys are as well. So, thanks for watching, and as always, take care and happy gaming.